Hi, I'm David J. Sorrentino. I went homeless in May of 2015. At that time, I had already built a small cabin in the woods. I had water. I had traded for a small wood stove, and I built all this up in the woods. It's still up there probably, up in Duval. And I lived in that cabin in the woods. My situation as a homeless person was pretty good in that I have a lot of woods skills. I was a professional fly fishing guide. I've been in 2 branches of the military, so I was able to make myself comfortable in the woods. But this is the Pacific Northwest. In the Pacific Northwest, you don't just go live out in the woods really comfortably, especially because that period of time started in October, November, when it was very cold and very wet out. I began to look for what options there were available as a homeless person, and someone told me about the Snoqualmie Valley shelter right here in Snoqualmie. I had never done anything like that before. I'd never been homeless before. I'd never been without money before. I'd never been without the means of making myself very comfortable before. So it felt initially like one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done in my life. The individual who checked me in, she listened to my whole story about how I was in 2 branches of the military, how I'd been 100% disabled and retired, but they hadn't started my benefits yet, and there was no telling when they were going to start these benefits. And Anna nodded, and she listened to this whole story and then brought me in and gave me a walkabout through the shelter where I'd get my bedding, where I would get my food and what have you. And Anna treated me so nice that on that very first night, I decided to myself that that would be a very comfortable alternative for me when I couldn't stay out on my own. I was really a person in need of getting out of the rain, getting out of the cold. I mean, in that first year of 2016, when I was homeless, there was over 200 days of rainfall here in Western Washington, where I live. That would be an uncomfortable stay outdoors, and for a lot of people, undoable. So I did it. I did it. It turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. What I ended up with was I ended up with a crew who not only learned my name, but learned my daily routines, learned my needs, learned what was bothering me. They became friends. Charlie, Jen, Anna, all of them became friends. All of them became confidants. All of these people I could come to the shelter at night after having a real hard day, because I wasn't used to being homeless. I wasn't used to being cold all day. I wasn't used to having no friends. And I would come back to that shelter and they would treat me like family and friend. They took care of my needs when I really, really had a lot of them. And I really appreciate that. I have medical benefits. I have a monthly paycheck. I am in great health. I am happy as can be. I have friends in 2 states now, and all of that happened after my period of homelessness and after I had help in going through all the necessary channels to make sure all those normalized things fell in place. And that's what's allowed me to integrate back into society and have friends and family just like a normal person should. And how fortunate was it for me that this was the valley I ended up homeless in. I may have fallen off the face of the earth in 2015, 2016, never been heard of again. That could have easily happened, easily. And it was because of the shelter that didn't have to happen.